Hello, freaks. Hey, look at that right there. You can see it. Wow, it's weird. This other... Oh, yeah, you see Cairo on the screen holding Blue. Did you see that? It was miniature, but you could still see him. Yep. Yo, yo, yo. So did all of you guys get to watch the 3 Minute of Mystery? You know? I don't know if you saw me... how did you think I handled that one caller who called in? Because I saw somebody in chat do the little crying. Well, they were just trying to... No, they sure weren't. What did you think of that, by the way? The caller that called in about how they want to talk to us off the air. Right? Yet you still called the show live. Why didn't you send an email? Did you ever think of that? Like, send an email and say, hey, I'd like to talk to you guys. You didn't do that. And not only did you call once, you called a second time. Well, I was telling her, hey, you know. So anyways, we had her call after the show. See, that's what's pretty crazy is after the show, we actually, let's see, contacted her, called her number back, and then she called. Then we talked, and it was absolutely the most ludicrous phone call you've ever heard in your life. First, she says, "You guys are just 3 white guys, and you're, you know." And at the end, she called us 3 fat white guys, and left. Okay. I won't say her name, but. She literally had nothing to say on the, like John just kept saying, okay, but what do you know that can forward, you know, the case? We're looking for that. Well, I'm an anthropologist, okay? And, you know, you guys are talking about clippers and things. And well, on this phone call, I said, what do you mean? What does your experience being an anthropologist where you said on the air that you dig up bones, what does that have to do with this case at all? Okay? She sounded like she was butthurt that nobody knew about her, nobody called her to really get all the information on the case, okay? I mean, I knew she was bad news the first call. Okay, everybody? I really did. The first call she made, I knew she was bad news. And the reason I knew that is because why would anybody ever call a show just to and go live just to tell them, yeah, I don't want to be on the air. I'm so important, everybody. I have the Holy Grail, and I'm so important that I need to tell you on the air that I'll talk to you off the air about what I know that's so important. Yeah, and then I saw her making comments in the chat. What experience do you guys have? Well, our experience is that we have brains. You know, we actually think about cases and what makes sense and then get experts on. Okay, that's our experience. Okay, you know, and I've actually worked on professionally making animations and so forth, but that doesn't really have anything to do with this case. I'm just saying it's not like we're just, you know, coming from left field here. You know, we talk to people. I mean, Morph's talked to tons and tons of different experts, and so is John, right? And he talks to the family, and what was amazing was the juxtaposition of her call, which was really condescending. She was saying stuff like, Well, you guys are just blabbing around. You guys are just blabbing around. Why is that doubling up like that? Huh. Hold on. That's weird. Why is that
Trump 2020 100 points.
Awesome. Hey, what made, why, do I double up when I'm talking to you guys? Or was it just that did that? Oh, I think it's right here. Hold on. I had something open. Okay. Yeah, thank you, Lillian Plummer. Yeah, you got pretty much railroaded all through that whole thing. It's actually just going to boost people. I think this whole thing is a sham the way this all is going. Okay, but we're not going to talk about politics here. Yeah, whatever it was, tangents, whatever. We're just talking about what we want to talk about. That's what I told her. I go, hey, we talk about whatever the hell we want to talk about. It's our show. You know, I already knew that she was bad news on that first call. Yet you get people in the chat that just think they're holier than thou. Oh, she's just trying to be helpful. No. I've been doing this long enough now where I can pull out a troll in 5 seconds. I know exactly what they sound like. That it was unbelievable, though. And then on the call, it didn't get much better at all. Basically, what I told her right near the end was that you sound like your feelings got hurt, like you should have been... You wanted to be pulled into a case. She actually said, well, you guys aren't like 2020 or anything. And I go, yeah, you're right. We have more information than 2020 does. Okay? Because John Lorden's been... This is a case he's been working on for a long time. That's why, you know, he can really speak, you know, better about the case because he's known it. I mean, he's been working on it for so long. It's sort of like if I was talking about Kanika Jenkins or Jodi Arias or, you know, things like that. I could just ramble on forever about that. Any questions somebody had, I could answer it. Yeah, it was so amazing, the difference, though, because when Angie called in, there was so much love in the chat that right before that, people were like, who the hell is this person, the other one? I don't even know who she was or anything. She claims to have been a friend, and they texted and so forth.
At end of show, can freak family help me to turn green to support gray?
Here's what I'll say, though. If I was a friend, if I was Alyssa, I'd be embarrassed for somebody to talk the way she did to us when we're actually trying to get the story out. Okay? I mean, that lady who called in should be ashamed of herself for doing that. Okay? I don't think she represents anybody at all with a rational mind. Let's put it that way. What do you mean? I'm a forensic anthropologist. No, I doubt it. Okay? I really do. As a matter of fact, if you were, I don't think you'd talk the way you did at all. So anyways, I guess there's updates in the Broussard case. Yeah, sounds like you know, one of the friends was kind of surprised that they were even still together. And that they had broken up once before, but she never told her that they were getting back together, that kind of thing. The only thing that's interesting with all this is, hey, thanks, Claudia Neubauer. Wait a second. Okay, good. Looks like we might win. Oh, man, we're just struggling. The Blazers are just struggling against crappy teams. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, and then also it does sound like, though, that there isn't anybody out there that thinks that she would have left without her son. And so that makes it, you put that into a different category then. See, those are facts that we didn't have at the beginning, okay? I still say when you see him do his interviews, he has real tears and his face turns and it looks like he's actually genuinely upset. However, I said on my shows, a lot of people don't listen to half the things I say, they just start bitching, is that those emotions can be elicited by thinking about what you just did, right? So his emotions appear genuine, and they could actually be him sad, knowing that he did something, or he's feeling guilty about maybe an argument they had and she left. That option's still out there, but it just seems like the longer you go, she would have called somebody, she would have definitely would have taken the other child with her. She had a great opportunity, right? Dropping the kid off at school, she could have taken that kid, but maybe the argument happened later that made her think that way, and she just panicked and left. But it seems less and less likely as the day goes by. I have a bet with somebody for $10, Leo something or other. It's a lady, though, Leo's wife or something like that. That's her YouTube name. I have a $10 bet. She thinks that the fiance, Shane, will be arrested on Friday. And I said, nah, I don't think so. So Saturday morning, I'll either owe $10 or will get $10. All right? Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff like that. It's weird how everybody is picking up on this case, but why is it any more interesting than about 1,000 other ones? I was just covering it because it was just one of the cases that we cover, right? But think about the facts involved in the case. What makes it way more intriguing than other ones? Seriously. And the reason it is because everybody's talking about it. And if you feel like you got to keep up with everything because you want to be in the know, and that's the only reason. And also Molly Tibbetts, for example. Remember Molly Tibbetts, how absolutely massive that case was? What made that one so interesting? There was no information coming out. I mean, it was interesting. We covered it all the time. But what made it interesting compared to other cases like that? There was no videotape. There was absolutely nothing. It was just kind of a neat little puzzle to try to figure out. Yeah, but there's babies that go missing all the time with moms. Every day there's cases I get sent to me that mom missing with 3 children. Yeah. That's amazing. What makes it so interesting to everybody? And as soon as it becomes one of those cases that's interesting for no apparent reason, that's when you get the newbie YouTubers, all the ones that came on board during the Chris Watts case. All of them, they'll latch onto it because it's sort of like the gold rush to them. They realize if I cover this every single day, every second, I'll get 1,000 extra subs that I didn't. And see, I don't really care. I like to get subs, but I like to do it sort of the natural, organic way, right? Where you just cover a case, and if somebody's interested, they might say, "Hey, I like that stuff. I'll subscribe." I don't go, "Ooh, yeah. How about this? I'll do 3 lives a day on the Broussard case. If somebody sneezes, I'll cover that too." Yeah. What interview was the on Good Morning America? Was he good? Was he honest in that one? I didn't see the interview that he had on Good Morning America. Was that just recently, or when was it? Oh, by the way, L101 right there. Yeah, but hey, Claudia, that doesn't have, for some reason, that's not going to pick up, though, Here's something that's strange. The Fotis Doulos case wasn't picked up as much as this Broussard case was. I know that people talked about it, but it's nowhere near the sort of the frenzied coverage that you're getting on the Broussard case. And I just, it's mind-boggling. Yes, it's where he stared at the ground. Okay, well, yeah, we all saw that one. Yeah, I didn't, those didn't bother me. That's how he talks. He stares at the ground. Just like he said he does on the other interview where they forced the camera in his face with the lights. And he said, God, this is just, I can't do it. I totally get I get it. It's stressful. You're on a camera with you got a cameraman, then you got a phone on a bed. And the bed, on a countertop or something. And the phone's asking questions, but he has to stare at nebulae, you know, like in the middle, he just had a lens on a camera. You know, if you're not used to doing that, it's weird. As a matter of fact, they even joke about it sometimes in movies where you've got somebody that's a news anchor, and then all of a sudden the lights turn on and they look at the camera and they just stare blankly at it for 20 minutes. And they have to nudge the other person, hey. So that must be a real thing, right? Like, those jokes wouldn't be funny except they're based on reality. Hey, the Blazers won, yay. Yeah. I actually think it's more possible. Hey, thanks Super Mean Sadie for becoming a member. You now have access to special emojis. So click on the emoji button and you'll see Jeffrey Dahmer. You'll see. Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly what you're looking for when... You know what's cool though is I can change those up whenever the hell I want to. So I might have like Serial Killer Monday and have like all 12 will be one. That's it, man. There won't be any... There'll be no Blues, no Chloes, nothing. Just serial killers. Yeah, well, there he is. Dahmer's the last one in the list. You love Dahmer. I love that Dahmer. That's good. So does anybody have any other thoughts on Broussard? Let's see. I do have... Let me just see if I can figure out what apartment he's in. Because I think I have a... I'm going to load up Google Earth there real quick. Man, slow. There you go. Took forever for Google Earth to open up. Okay. So they're in that apartment complex. I just want to see if I can tell by looking at this. I don't know if one of these had a picture of it in the background. So I think that's her car, right? I mean, Heidi's car is still parked outside the apartment. So it looks like she has a Prius or one of those electric cars. It's weird how electric cars always have that same shape. Doesn't matter who makes them. Well, not always, but there's a similar shape to them. He looks so different than that. Okay, but that wasn't the one I was looking for. Yeah, so I don't know if they're filming up at the apartments right there. I can't tell, but maybe if we look at the, you know, you can definitely see how the two sort of haystacks there, or chimneys. I mean, there's a whole bunch of those scenarios. There's that one, this one, but let's see what else was in that. So it goes around, and then there's it looks like more buildings right there. So it definitely could be this spot right there, actually. Really could be. Looks just like that. Yeah. I mean, you know, it could be on this side or this side, but I actually think it probably is that spot. Right there. But maybe they even lived in one of these apartments right there. But I can't be 100% sure. Oh, what happened? Do you need my attention? Can you not hear me, or what's going on? Oh, you can't. Hey, you're supposed to send in $2. That's so weird. I already switched over. I thought I did anyway. Okay. Shit. All right. Let's do it again now. You got to send in $2 for the gong. You know that. All right. Karate LKH. Thank you for subscribing. All right. So see this? This is a picture that's on Daily Mail. This is what I was just talking about. See the chimneys right there? Oh, by the way, I'm going to. There's another feature that I can get. I think you guys you'll love to use it. It's something that's like Stream Mask or something, where you can actually put a mask on my face. It's crazy. I don't even know how they do that, but I actually think it's this building right there. I know that there's other spots that look like this. It can't be this one because there's a tree on it. These all have trees right in front of them, so they can't be that spot. And I don't know if that's actually where they lived or it was just B-roll footage, something like that. Thanks, Bush and Beach Lifestyle. Thank you. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. So see, you got the two chimneys, wide open space here, and then a part of another apartment building right there going sideways, right? So if you watch that, you can kind of see that that's what this is. So it could have been that news just pulled in and filmed like that. Well, thanks, Shelly Ann. Yeah, you can see the right
Yeah, we can
screen.
see the right screen hugging face.
Well, I'm just glad I wasn't picking my nose, you know? Like, I could have easily been picking my nose thinking that screen was on, right? Oh, isn't this a bad part of town, though? Yeah. So I actually think that camera shot, you see a little bit of this building and then that one in that shot. See that? Right there, you see the edge and then the two. But I don't know if they're actually filming there or not. So don't say, oh, that's the apartment. We don't know. Okay. So anybody else have anything new that came up today? Because I'm not going to do one of those shows where we just sit there and talk about it endlessly, hours and hours and hours, because there's really nothing. Every single thing that could possibly be parsed and then over-parsed out of his interviews has been done. I mean, it has become just so ludicrous. Every single thing. Wait a minute. He said the purse was upstairs, but then right after that he says it's in the car. Oh, well, doesn't that prove he just sort of misspoke just before that? I mean, wouldn't he wait a little bit before he corrected it? He just spoke without even really thinking. He was just, yeah, you know. It's just amazing. Oh, okay. Well, somebody mentioned, I thought somewhere that said it was a bad part of town. Have any of the rumors turned out to be true at all? Yeah, I wouldn't. I guess you know what? If there's you're driving a Prius, you're not going to get a shitty apartment. I wouldn't think. Yeah. Well, the thing is whenever the newbie YouTubers or people with really low sub counts, it's like I think a lot of times they cover it to get subs. Like that one guy that put out that video with no corroboration at all. He got like 1,500, 2,000 subs in a day and a half because his little video went viral on Facebook and all kinds of social media. Yep, so no confirmed rumors whatsoever. Yeah. Yeah, that's the whole thing too, is like, who gives a shit about Heidi? I have people, I mean, I appreciate you sending it to me, but you're sending me stuff about Heidi and maybe she's into, you know, but it's not even her. They have a thing of Heidi Broussard on Etsy or something with a collar, and you know, maybe she's into like whatever the hell you call that with the when people wear collars and stuff sexually. It's just I don't even care. Yeah. I mean, there's always good and bad parts of town, right? You guys should go back and watch my one that I did on mummification. The remember the one with the guy that was found dead because of mummification? Like it's some sort of sexual thing. And then I actually turned it into it was actually a comedy at one point. I think I called it the Mummy Riff. Would anybody be interested in seeing that again? I wonder if I still have that up. I'm wondering if that if it was offended or people were offended by that one. Let's see. No, yeah, it's right there. You guys gotta listen to this video. Look at it. It only has 880 views, but man, the quality, the humor that was in it, it deserved 100,000. It was awesome. Here we go. Here we go. All right, now let's get into this topic. Isn't this crazy? On daily news. Look at this. Wait, hold on a second. What was that? Did I have UCLA? Was that minivan that popped up on that screen just for a second? Oh, God, what was that? Oh, yeah. Look at that. That's hilarious. All right, now let's get into this topic. Crazy. Isn't this crazy? That was like way a long time ago. Look at this. UCLA professor 47. Let me reload this. Get that, whatever this share thing off the screen there. I hate that crap. UCLA professor 47 suffers sudden death during recreational mummification bondage in sex dungeon of 62-year-old Hollywood exec's LA dungeon basement. Sex dungeon. So, how do we know that this was really what that was? Doran George, 47, suffered a sudden death during recreational mummification. Because that's what we all do, right? You know, some people go to a park. Some people, you know, might throw a frisbee in their yard. Some people play golf, racquetball, badminton, handball. And then some people do mummification. Okay, I don't think there's anything unusual about that whatsoever, okay? But yeah, I mean, who doesn't do recreational mummification? I don't know how someone being mummified could possibly be involved in anything recreational. You see what I'm saying? He was in a plastic wrap and gaffer's tape. Chasey's work as a television business affairs executive at Hollywood agency William Morrison Dever. He is known in the, I think this is that sadomasochism community, as Master Skip. Master indeed. A man died in his sex dungeon basement. Oh, wait. A man died in the sex dungeon basement. See, nothing good is coming out of a story that starts with, and it has the phrase sex dungeon basement in it. Okay? That never works out well. A man died in the sex dungeon basement of a top Hollywood executive while he was being mummified. Because of course, when you're being mummified, you're expecting to live. Doran George, 47, suffered a sudden death during recreational mummification. You know, it's weird. I just joined a gym recently, and I think I saw that right below the yoga class. And it was like basketball, yoga, and recreational mummification. Come on! Alright. Bondage at the Los Angeles home of Skip Chasey on November 22nd, according to the LA. So this story isn't like today. You know, I don't know why it's just being put out today though. George, a British-born UCLA professor and dancer, was found in the 62-year-old's dungeon in Los Feliz. As in, you know, Feliz Navidad. See, again, what are the odds of that? There was no criminal component found at the scene when police were investigated. But, you know, when you look at a picture like that, doesn't that just ooze criminality there? I don't know. You know, call me crazy. He is known in the BDSM community as Master Skip and has given more than 250 different speeches and workshops on the topic. Chasey, who is co-founder of People of Leather Among You Play, has the motto, blood may be thicker than water, but leather is thicker than blood. These people they're such a hoot. Gray, don't knock it till you try it, okay? Hey, that's funny. That's me back in the day saying that same thing. Gray, a spokesperson with WME said to Page 6, while we were unaware of the circumstances surrounding the personal matter until now, we understand that the police file is closed and no charges were brought. If other facts developed, we will reevaluate the situation and determine any appropriate actions to take. Right. I don't even see where his head is. Like, where's the head? I can see it now. So. You guys, you know, you see what I'm looking at there? I guess apparently in recreational mummification, the head removal is also required, and then they all just get along and have a good laughter afterwards. Chasey will be keeping his job with the company, you know, because, you know, look at, nobody else would keep their job, but see, he's in a certain, let's say, political sphere that kind of stuff's just okay. There's nobody else I know would keep their job at any other business if they were having sadomasochism parties where they mummified somebody and they ended up dying, okay? Can any of you picture keeping your job in that situation? Death, this is today too. So they kept this story covered for like 7 months, it sounds like. Wow. Death in a Hollywood sex dungeon, how a top agency executive's mummification ritual ended in tragedy. Wouldn't you think that any mummification ritual would end in death of the person being mummified? I mean, it's just a thought. I don't know. For years, WME VP Skip Chasey has led an openly double life as a master in LA's BDSM community. But a role-playing encounter involving plastic wrap went horrifically wrong. I mean, listen, how could it not? Right? You mummified the guy. This is back in the Yeti microphone where you can hear everything. You can hear my mouth just going, you know, it's crazy. The Yeti microphones pick up an ant falling off the wall from 50 feet away. It's crazy. Guy. Hello? And by the way, this is sort of my sense of humor right here, okay? This whole thing here is this is how I'm sarcastic and that. So if you're watching my show, sometimes I'll say something like that and think of the context, and maybe you'll realize that I'm not really, you know, serious about that one thing that I'm saying right then. 3 decades, Skip Chasey. Well, Gray, you just don't understand what they're doing. You see, because the act of mummification actually involves a correlation between the mindset of the individual with the explicit notification of the other party that they'll be using saran wrap to not only convey their sexual desires of having sex with a mummy, but at the same time allow the other person to feel a sense of domination at the same time. Okay. I don't agree. I'm sorry. That's something tragic. For nearly 3 decades, Skip Chasey, one of Hollywood's top deal makers, led a delicate balancing act of an existence. One Sunday last November, it all came tumbling down. Didn't it come tumbling down prior to that? I mean, the fact that you were even doing all that, wasn't it tumbling down then? That something tragic had occurred became known to his many friends the following morning when on November 20th, 2017, Chasey posted a troubling Facebook message. I've just experienced a traumatic loss of a mummy, he said. I'm kidding, he didn't say. Tragic loss that necessitates my having to withdraw from the madding crowd and grieve for a while, he wrote. I'll be back, I promise you. But for now, I must tend to myself and a few others as well. Oh, Jesus, get over yourself. The post received 130 notices of support and condolences. No one questioned what happened or whom. Yeah, of course, right? Certainly, none of the messages expressed even an inkling that the traumatic loss in question occurred as a result of a sex ritual gone horribly awry, one of which Chasey oversaw the mummification of a partner in plastic wrap, who then proceeded to expire in front of him. Very interesting. Maybe you forgot to poke the hole where the mouth is. I wonder how did he sell this to the cops as being like, oh, hey, nothing to see here, folks, you know, that kind of thing. Like the cops just went, yeah, okay, that makes sense, sure, yeah, I just saw another one last week. It was hilarious. There was, you know, this guy had 6 mummies, only one died, so we even cut him a bigger break than you. Of course, the one dumb mummy that you have didn't make it, so. In his professional life, Chasey, 62, is a senior VP Business Development at William Morris Endeavor. A position he's held. He probably has a lot of dirt on a lot of people. He's probably, the reason he's keeping his job is he's probably had a few of these encounters with some of his employees, if you know what I'm saying. Like maybe his boss, right? That's just a theory out there. I'm not saying that's fact. Okay, it just seems odd that you would keep your job after mummifying somebody, and a UCLA professor nonetheless, and having them die right in front of your face. Shows a really... I think one thing that you can take from this is that it shows a lack of judgment. Can you all agree with that? Let's see. But in his personal time, Chasey is a master skip. A respected figure in the Los Angeles leather scene. Wow! That just oozes respect, you know what I'm saying? Google his Google his nom de dungeon, as dozens of links and videos turn up, including an entry on leatherpedia.com, which provides some biographical highlights. You notice how the story is now just really excited about that part of it, really wants to talk him up a little bit. Oh God, look at this. First San Francisco 1978, then New York 1981, and finally laid roots in Los Angeles in 1992, where he fully immersed himself in the gay bondage scene. Okay, while his prepossessing Midwestern looks are far from the Tom of Finland ideal, Chasey has fashioned himself into a sadomasochistic, spiritualistic, and community leader. Look how they're just so excited about this guy. God, you just sound like he's a hero of yours, but for the mummification that went wrong. You see what I'm saying? Like, listen, put it. He is incredible. This guy is one of the best. Let me ask you this. Michael Jordan's a great basketball player, right? If tomorrow it turns out his wife died in his bedroom from mummification, would you still go? Would you even think about Jordan anymore in terms of basketball? You'd probably think, God, do you hear about how he mummified that lady? Oh my God. Maybe Jordan transcends that. I'm just saying. It's ridiculous. Well, I mean, look at it down here. It says, while he, so down here it says, merge second period. His resume touts a starring role in the 2005 documentary Pup, which chronicles his involvement in the pup play scene, in which a handler and a human puppy interact for sexual gratification. His certification as a grief counselor. How in the hell could this guy have anything to do with anybody else's psychological problems? His certification as a grief counselor and his invitation to address as Master Skip a crowd of nearly 1 million at the Millennium March on Washington. It's an impressive testament to Hollywood open-mindedness, and none of these pursuits has ever bothered Ari Emanuel or any of Chasey's other powerful bosses at WME. Well, that's a damn fact, isn't it? Where he has earned a reputation for being a gifted negotiator, an all-around nice guy, other than when he's wrapping somebody in saran wrap and they die in the mummification process. Well, there you go, everybody. That was actually June 30th, 2018. But it just popped into my head right there because because of the people that were posting stuff that Heidi Broussard, another Heidi Broussard, was posting on Etsy. Okay, but yeah, I thought that was pretty funny the way I did that one. I just felt like it had to be that way. There's no way you could just report on that and act like it's normal, right? No way in hell to do that. I mean, I guess you could, but it would just be, you'd have to be trying too hard to actually report on that as if it was normal. You know? Like you're trying too hard to be not biased. Because if you're not biased in your head when you see that story, well, then you're probably one of them to do those kinds of things. And then that would make you really rare. Well, Gray, you don't really understand. It's really quite popular these days. What they do now is they take saran wrap and And they'll have a few different people. They'll tie you to a pole and they'll just wrap you up in it. Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if they forgot to poke a hole where the mouth is. You know, they saw him wiggling around, but that's part of the game, right? And then 2 hours later, they went, holy shit, we forgot to poke the hole. Damn it. Okay, call the police. They show up. Hey, what's going on here? Damn it, Jim. We had another death at one of our mummy parties. What happened this time? Well, the damnedest thing, we forgot to poke the hole there. Well, how'd you forget to do that? Well, one thing led to another, and I was doing something else. Okay, cool. Well, give us a call. We'll get the coroner out here really quick. Have a good day. Thank you. I mean, come on. Oh, give me a break. Recreational. I mean, let me ask you this for the hell of it. What possibly could be fun or neat about recreational mummification? Just give me something. Give me something to work with. Yeah, I've always felt like being in a cocoon of some sort. I mean, just give me one thing that would feel good about being wrapped up in saran wrap like that. It's just... Well, Gray, you haven't tried it, have you?
No, and I'll never try it.
Why not, Greg? God, you don't do anything.
Keep doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just, kind of running with it there, Shelley. Yeah, you didn't even like sleeping with your socks on, huh? Yeah. So hell, you guys want to go over? I have about 4 different cold cases that are looks like they've been solved by DNA. Jules sent them to me. It's crazy. I know it's not as cool as recreational mummification, but we'll slog through it. When I go through, and when I am at the grocery store and I go through the saran wrap department, I do get a little excited, I'll be honest. That's a joke. All right. Good. Hey, Cairo, did you see the picture showed up with you with blue on the main screen. Okay, genetic genealogy leads to man's arrest. And look at that, again, 1981. What's the deal with 81, everybody? Was that just like I think that's the serial killer heyday. What's going on, Chloe? You look really excited. It just seems like every freaking 81, 81, 81, every single time. Maybe we could find this one. Let's see. Authorities arrested a man in connection with the 1981 murder of Linda Patterson Slayton. Let's see if we can find that before we even go any further. Polk County. Okay, this is in Florida. Okay, so let's do it. www.newspapers.com. Add more information. Florida. 1981. Search. Boom. Now put this information right there, and there we go. Mom strangled while 2 sons sleep nearby. A 31-year-old woman was beaten, raped, and strangled to death in her West Side duplex apartment Thursday night while her 2 sons slept in a separate bedroom. Wow, that sounds a lot like an East Area rapist move right there, doesn't it? Linda Patterson Slater let's get this then. 303 North Brunel. 303 North Brunel Parkway, Lakeland, Florida. There it is. So right in that house, right there. That's interesting. Is that a house? It's kind of like a, yeah. I think it's probably this whole complex has that address. It looks like an like a, almost, that's weird. Yeah. Anyways, that's the address that was given. 303 North Brunel Parkway, apartment 31. Let's see if we can get that in there. Parkway, apartment 31. Oh, there you go. It actually has that in there. So now we got the exact one. See, I always think it's weird when you just picture... I mean, look at that. I guarantee it that was there in 1981. And you look at that, and look at that. There's the 31. That inside this room, in this building right here, there was a mom with 2 kids, and she was strangled to death. Her sister, who lives just a few doors down... Oh, let's see. So it was found dead in her bed about 8:30 a.m. Friday by her 34-year-old sister. Her sister, who lives just a few doors down in the same housing development, came over to meet Slayton and noticed a missing screen on the window on the back bedroom. Oh, wow, that's freaking nuts. So that means like on this other side, right in there. Somewhere, you know, it's not a very good model, but back there. It looks like that's, maybe those are air conditioning units right there, but. Is this interesting for you guys? It's crazy how quickly you can get back to a history. Her sister, okay, so the sister whose name neighbors did not know and police would not divulge, went over to investigate and saw Slayton slumped across the bed, said Isaiah Murray, who lives in apartment 33, which I would imagine is the next one over, right? Oh, let me see if I can see it if I go right there. Now it's 32, so 33 is probably this one. Okay, so that's the neighbor. They were just in that unit, and she's in this one right here. I thought maybe they alternated odd even like they do on streets, but it doesn't look like it. I guess it's an apartment, so that's why. Hells to the yeah, Tammy said. Linda had only lived here about a week and a half. Murray said she was really friendly, or was a real friendly. She was real friendly. Went around and introduced herself to most of the neighbors. So she'd only been there a week and a half. That's interesting. It's got to be somebody that, well, you'd think she knew, but maybe not. Murray said Slayton and her 12-year-old son had returned home about 1 a.m. Friday from the next-door neighbors where they had been playing cards. He said her 15-year-old son was already home in bed. There is some talk that maybe the guy was already inside when she came home, said Murray, who has lived in the complex about 2 weeks. Another neighbor, Diane Huggins, in apartment 34, so that would be the one just over from that 33 that we just saw, said she didn't hear anything unusual the night before. Everybody's going to sleep with the windows closed, Huggins said, as her preschool children played in the background. A couple of people have even said they are moving out. The development is made up of about 80 single-story brick duplexes with neatly sodded lawns, that line a long cul-de-sac. Most of the people living there have small children and many youngsters who were playing on the lawns and in the freshly paved streets Friday afternoon. The only evidence of the murder was a yellow sign tacked to the front door of Slayton's apartment. It read, "Crime scene, keep out." The development has only been open 3 weeks, but is almost full, neighbors said. So wow, that complex was built in 1981. So it was brand new at the time. Neighbors said Slayton's son left to spend the weekend with Neighbors said Slayton's sons left to spend the weekend with her boyfriend. Oh, shortly after police removed her body. Huh. Police asked that person... Oh, that's kind of weird. Neighbors said Slayton's son left to spend the weekend with her boyfriend shortly after. Why would they spend the weekend with her boyfriend? I mean, maybe they were close. I don't know. So that was September 5th. Let's see what we got on the 18th there. Another article. Oh, so that, look at that. They even have a picture of the window here. Lakeland police are still searching for the murderer of Linda Patterson Slayton, 31, of 303 North Burnell Parkway, apartment 31. That's so specific. You know what I mean? Like, they don't even come anywhere near that specific these days. Hey, there's my computer's yelling at me. Slayton was raped and then strangled in her bed sometime during the night of September 4th. Photograph shows the bedroom window with a missing screen through which the person who killed Slayton is believed to have entered the home. Wow. And that's all they have on that page, right? Kind of weird. Lakeland police make little headway in murder probes. City police still searching for murderers of 2 Lakeland residents admit they are not making much headway. Police are continuing intensive interviews of friends, relatives, and associates of Linda Patterson Slayton, 31, who was found raped and strangled to death September 4th, and Thomas Calvin Turner, 71, who was found shot to death September 19th. The murders are unrelated, police said. Police now believe Turner was either shot in his auto found stuck in the mud near 10th Street. There you go. In the Slayton case, police are still awaiting the results of lab tests to be conducted on evidence found. I'm sure she was she was raped. And I think that's why they've made an arrest in this one. Now that the trial is... Okay, that's something else. Let's see. Conducted and evidence found within the federally subsidized apartment. Let me just see if there's anything else after that. Now look at, she says, I'm not scared of being raped. I'm too old, said Inez Eddy of apartment 61. Well, there's a lot of psychos these days. Like even, hell, Thomas Bruce, didn't he rape somebody that was 70-something? All right, now let's get back to the original, the story, though, right here. So, genetic genealogy leads to man's arrest in 1981 cold case. See, that's why I keep telling you guys. All of these rapists from the 80s and early 90s, 70s, all those people, they are all shitting their pants right now because they weren't careful about depositing their semen or anything. They didn't even care. Okay, because there's no such thing at that time in public that DNA existed. Okay? So, 80, that's why you get a lot of these things from, these cases from 81, 82, 83, 84. They just were careless. And they're older, and I think they go over the older ones first, especially if they have DNA. Authorities have arrested a man in connection with the 1981 murder of Linda Patterson Slatton. See, I think doing it the way we just did it makes these so much more interesting, because now in your mind you know what the apartment looked like. You know what happened to her in the apartment. And you actually got to see the screen window. The screen was off that window in the back. And then you got the feel of what the neighbors were saying and that kind of thing. Now we go to the current time. Okay, listen to this though. Police said Slatton was found dead in her apartment. So remember, there was that party, right? I haven't read this article yet. Just letting you know. Because I like to do it fresh too, so that it's not rehearsed. This is just what I'm thinking as I go. All right, so let's just do this. Police said Slatton was found dead in her apartment on North Brunel Parkway. If you remember, she was at a card party the night before, on Thursday night, I think. She had been sexually assaulted. And notice here they just say North Brunel Parkway. They have no specific information at all because it's now. But back then, they give you the freaking apartment number. She had been sexually assaulted and her home had been burglarized. Police said her two sons, aged 12 and 15, were sleeping at the home the night she was murdered. Mills was questioned by police. Okay, so they must have written, is the guy's name Mills? Let's see. Well, how come you don't say his name first? And you just sort of start talking about Mills. I mean, let's see. Authorities arrested a man and can... Yeah, they never even mentioned him yet, but they're starting off with his last name. Mills was questioned by police 2 days after the murder, but never arrested. The case went cold for nearly 4 decades. I want to know who Mills was. Was he at that card party and left early? You know, that kind of... that. I haven't read this yet. That's just a guess I'd be making. They realized, wow, he left the party early. People said that, so they questioned him. That's what my guess is going to be. Okay? What do you guys guess? I haven't read through this yet. Yeah, they didn't even say his name, though. Anyways. Detectives were able to crack the case using DNA and fingerprints from an unrelated arrest in 1984 and said that a DNA match confirmed Joseph Clinton Mills as the suspect. According to a police affidavit, Mills was the football coach of Slayton's youngest son. Interesting. That same affidavit reads that detectives turned to genetic genealogy. So that, wow, man, how freaky is that, man? Be kind of weird if in the Delphi, that's one of the things that we, in the podcast, we do mention, is that, you know, the people that would have known that school wasn't in would be people that worked at the school. You know, in the Delphi case, like people that worked there knew that there was no school that day. So that's one of the sort of the things that is a possibility, that somebody just knew that there'd be kids there because there was no school that day. All right. According to a police affidavit, Mills was the football coach of Slatton's youngest son. That same affidavit reads that detectives turned to genetic genealogy. Results came back in mid-2019, pointing to Mills as the likely killer. He was living in Lakeland, and new DNA collected from his garbage matched that from Slayton's rape kit. Wow, that's amazing. According to court documents. And they're all using the same techniques. Once they've identified somebody, they surveil them until they throw something away that they shouldn't have. Or they should have, but they didn't realize they shouldn't have. Right? In a 2011 interview, youngest son Tim Slayton told 8 on your side, I guess, this channel here, he believed the suspect was likely someone the family knew. Okay, so they talked to her, one of her sons, that in 2011 interview, youngest son Tim Slayton told 8 on your side. He believed the suspect was likely someone the family knew. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's sort of the first thought you get in a community like that. It just feels that way. Mills, 58, was arrested and charged with first-degree murder, sexual battery, and burglary with assault and battery. He is being held at Polk County Jail. Now retired Lakeland PD Detective Brad Grice previously was the lead investigator on the case. By phone, he told this News Channel 8 that he stayed in contact with Slayton's family after all these years and is thrilled to see an arrest in the case. Yep. And I know that one of the people that Dennis speaks to regarding the Schnee Oberholzer case is very similar to that and would be just as ecstatic to solve that case. Isn't that a fact, Dennis? Yep. All right. Let me how come he didn't say his name again? Look at that. The first thing they say is the time they say the name Mills is just Mills. They never once said his real full name in this article. Oh, there it is, right there. But after saying Mills, you're supposed to put out the full name first, and then you can refer to him as Mills after that. You know what I'm going to do here? I'm going to see something. Let's check something out. Where is that newspapers.com? What if you typed his name in with a and then make that 1981 to like 1990. Well, he must not have been a very good football coach. I want more information on this. Okay, so now we have a picture. That's her, and that's the guy.
Everyone has a baby they want to protect. Like my dachshund.
Oh, well, I wish I knew where that was playing, but
1959 hardtop convertible.
Or your baby could be an actual baby. From fire and flood detection, with home security you can trust, to safe driver alerts and apps you can use on the go.
So it's on here.
Nobody has more ways to help keep all your babies
it's in this damn
because
article.
we are what we protect.
They've got to have more information about how it went down. I guess they don't really even... Why would you even care at that point? You get the DNA and that's him. He has to explain how that got there. And they questioned him 2 days later, so now they have his story from then, which he probably totally lied in, and they'll be able to say, listen, you didn't mention... Because he'll have to say now, I mean, what do you think this guy's going to have to say now? He's going to have to say, oh, well, we had a relationship. We just kind of kept it on the down low. Well, sir, then how come you didn't tell us that after she was found dead? You know, because he's going to have to say that he had a relationship. Okay, well, that's that one. She lived in this apartment. She was playing poker... or cards over at one of these houses right there. And when she went home, she went inside and both their kids were sleeping. And apparently she was murdered during the night. Probably, I think they said strangled to death. Right? And the kids didn't wake up or anything. And then the guy went in through a back window by taking the screen off. Hello, Hazel. All right, that's one. And here's another one. They seem to be coming really rapidly these days. Genealogy testing links suspect to 1991 cold case.
Coming from Charlotte-Mecklenburg police today, they say they have identified the person who sexually assaulted a woman back in the 90s. Police tell us Kevin McNamee broke into a woman's home.
Wow, sounds
in the middle
familiar.
of the night, burglarized her, and sexually assaulted her. They say his DNA matches the DNA taken from the rape kit on that night in September
This is just a sexual assault.
McNamee has a criminal history dating back to the 80s, including 19 separate charges for burglaries and break-ins.
The survivors in these cases have been living with this for decades, and it never goes away for them. And so for the closure that we're bringing to them, their families, I think is just exceptional work.
CMPD's Cold Case Detective Unit says it has solved more than 500 cold cases since 2016.
Huh. Let's see if we can just
coming from
find
Charlotte-Mecklenburg police today, they say they...
All right, let's see. Oh. I lost it. Newspapers.com. Be weird to be able to, because they're not going to name the people, I don't think, back then. Let's see. Detectives say a woman was sleeping in her Monroe Road area home when the suspect... This is kind of like when the East Area rapist before he went to killing. Yeah, these people are all... I think every time that you have a break-in and an unsolved case where somebody rapes somebody and kills them, or even just rapes, they are serial rapists and serial killers. Almost every single time, unless there's an actual connection between the two, like a boyfriend or something. If there's no relation at all and they can't determine, like the DNA doesn't match anybody that she knew, it's almost every single time going to be a serial killer or a serial rapist. People don't just do that one time. Okay? I mean, they do, but it's really rare. They are psychos. Okay? Detectives say the suspect's DNA profile initially didn't find a match in the national database in 2008. So let's see. Evidence from the sexual assault was tested in 1991, but it wasn't until 2005 that DNA from the case was retested. Charlotte Mecklenburg detectives say Kevin McNamee is facing multiple charges. Well, let's just put his name in there. No. "19 separate charges." Wow, McNamee's criminal history includes 19 separate charges for burglaries and break-ins, which occurred in 1984, several for which he was convicted and incarcerated for between 84 and 1990. Detectives say McNamee remains in custody. So actually that could have been way before Well, it does say 1991 sexual assault, but I don't know if that's when it occurred, or was that actually when they tested the? It seems to be that it actually occurred in 91. But all right, well, there's that one. And then here's another one. Suspect connected to murder of couple whose son was found on stranger's porch. Oh yeah, this is not that. This isn't another cold case, but you guys remember the case that we showed where there was surveillance footage and, okay, what was it? Like that couple drove from another state. They found like $50,000 of coke or something, or money. I don't even remember all the details. And then they have that surveillance where the car's burning off camera. You can see the light from it. And then that bald-headed guy that had that big bump on his head looked like. Yeah, well, they've made a bunch of arrests in that case. And that's also the case where the little kid was left on that door. So 3-year-old Nolvin Valentine Cologne was found sleeping on a stranger's porch in September. Okay. A Florida boy was found sleeping in a box on a stranger's porch not far from where his parents' charred bodies were found. Would be found in a rental car. But authorities have reportedly said they have several suspects in custody in the mysterious Buffalo murders and have been holding them for months on other charges. Ah, that's interesting. I didn't realize that. We believe they are substantially involved, if not directly involved, in the murders of the 3 persons. Local Buffalo station WIVB quotes an unidentified assistant U.S. attorney as saying in court transcripts referring to the young boy's parents, Nicole Merced Plade and Miguel Valentin Colon, along with a third man, Demille Roman, who had been traveling with the family. The local station reported that the suspects, who were not identified by the station, had been in custody for months on charges of conspiracy to possess and distribute drugs. There you go. So these 2 people right here were burned in a car, and you actually see the little kid running with them. And remember, there was the bald-headed guy. That was some crazy. Hey, good night, Claudia. Claudia Neubauer. Claudia Neubauer, the FOTUS doulos expert who travels far and wide to get every shot. Our intrepid reporter, Claudia Neubauer. It's a cool name, too, isn't it? I always like Neubauer. Did you spell that right, Wally? He spelled her name wrong. I was like, Bauer-er? What is a Bauer-er? Okay, well, sounds like they've got people that they've been looking into for a long time. And they've had him. I mean, that guy was pretty distinctive, didn't you think? Yeah, you put an extra R in there, Wally. Claudia Neubauer. Yep, definitely not Neubauer. Yep, come on, Wally. Right there. Yeah, we've even had Wally driving around film in that one case earlier in the year. I don't even remember it, but that was a pretty interesting one. I'm surprised all those newbies didn't jump on that one. Well, they kind of did. They started seeping over there, but it got solved too quick. Yeah. Gray, why do you always talk about them? Well, because it makes me angry. It's sort of like this weird, like it's almost greedy feeling on their part, you know. All right. Here's another one that was solved. California cold case murders of cousins solved using DNA that was all over both crime scenes, police say. Yeah, vultures. That's a better word. Yeah, I like that. Well, who are you talking to, Docs? Yeah. I know. Well, it doesn't really matter. I'm not even talking about that guy, though. He's not. He's just. He only covers one case, and that's it. I'm just talking about these. There's all these people that came aboard true crime because of Watts, and to them, they joined the true crime YouTuber, or quote true crime, because they saw this case and they went, "Wow, hey, man!" And looked to them like the gold rush, where if they could just get a channel out there, they could get a whole bunch of viewers and subs really quick. Who cares how you cover it? Make up stuff, just blab out stuff, come up with crazy theories, and so then they started. Then they had nothing else to talk about, so then they went to drama, and now there's a case that isn't solved in a week. So now they're all jumping on that one to see if they can cash out on, get some more gold out of it. It's crazy. Nearly 4 decades after the bodies of two teenage cousins were discovered hours apart in Northern California, authorities revealed Tuesday the cold case has been solved using the same technology used to catch the alleged Golden State Killer. No, he was don't say alleged. Okay, what's funny is you don't have to say alleged Golden State Killer. You can just say to catch the Golden State Killer, because you're not saying anybody's name, right? The Fremont Police Department announced that Clifton Hudspeth, who is deceased, has been identified as the suspect in the December 20th, 1982 double homicide of 16-year-old. Now we can look this one up here. Let's see. What about Jodi Arias? Yeah. Jodi Arias was a weird one for me because I spent so many hours making those videos, and I just did them because I was so adamant to argue against what other people just kept saying. They just wanted to believe every single word that Juan Martinez said, even if it was ludicrous. Like in Closing Arguments, Juan Martinez's description of how the killing of Travis went down is so bizarrely stupid that when you watch it, you're embarrassed for him. But he had to go that route because of how they changed the sequencing. You see? So you think Jodi's innocent? So that's always the next sentence. So you think Jodi's innocent? No. I just was telling you that... forget it. Okay, Mary Jane. So this is 1982, and this is in California. 1982. It's actually December. California. Then, put her name right there. Well, there is one article here. Let's see what this says. Fremont police have identified the badly beaten bodies of two 16-year-old cousins who were shot and dumped along the road 5 miles apart. The teenagers, Jeffrey Addup of Milpitas and Mary Jane Malatap Tag of South San Francisco, were last seen Sunday night as they left a movie theater in Milpitas where Attup worked as a projectionist, police said. Their bodies were found Monday morning. Both bodies were fully clothed, said police spokesman Dennis Satariano. Let's see. That's weird. So you'd think that would definitely have to be somebody that they knew. For sure, right? Let me type in the other guy. So it was Jeffrey Attup. Let's see if his name... Let me get rid of... I bet if I went 82 to 83, you'd see a lot more, because that's December. No. Man, that's even set to California. Man, there's hardly covered at all. And his name wouldn't pop up anymore, but I could try it. No, same article. How about if I get rid of California? Will it come up? And actually, her name would be more likely to have a single hit. Oh, crap. I knew I hit the wrong button. Nope, man. It might be in that other newspaper site, but I'm not going to go look there. So, nearly 4 decades after the bodies of two teenage cousins were discovered, hours apart, authorities revealed Tuesday the cold case has been solved. It is believed Hudspeth acted... Let's see, hold on. Announced that Clifton Hudspeth, who is deceased, has been identified as the suspect in the December 20th, 1982 double homicide of 16-year-old Mary Jane Malatag and her 16-year-old cousin Jeffrey Flores Attup. It is believed Hudspeth acted alone and is the only suspect in the case. Well, how did they must have got DNA just... Let's see. Officials said on December 20th, 1982, a caller reported around 6 a.m. that a... Oh, that's them right there? Yeah. Yeah, they look so happy. Officials said on December 20th, 1982, a caller reported around 6 a.m. that a body was found near the intersection of Green Valley and Scott Green Roads in Fremont, not far from the Milpitas border. Officers later identified the body as 16-year-old Jeffrey Flores Attup, who officials said visible injuries and was an apparent homicide victim. He looks just like, who does he look like? I was going to say he looks like Bruce Lee almost, doesn't he? Like if you turn your head sideways, he looks just like him. Yeah. Were you going to say that as well, Amy? What is that face, Tammy? I don't even know what that is. I always see that. It looks like a... Is that a fish? Yeah. I had that same haircut in the 70s. Everybody looked the same in the 70s. Come on. Initially, it was unknown if the two murders were related, but as the investigation progressed, the two victims were identified. How would you not know that they were related? Oh, because you didn't know that they were cousins. As being cousins. It was also learned they had been together the prior evening. Investigators said that Attup worked at the Sierra Theaters and Malatag was at the movie theater with some friends waiting for her cousin to get off work. Once Attup closed up the theater, police said that he, Malatag, and one of her friends walked to a 7-Eleven store off North Abel Road and purchased some food. The pair were last seen walking along North Abel Road at 12:35 a.m. towards Adam's home in Horcajo Street, but never made it. After what authorities described as an exhaustive investigation with multiple interviews, the case went cold until 1999, when Fremont police decided to look at the case again, as DNA was becoming more prevalent in investigating crimes. The suspect DNA was all over both crime scenes, and there was a sole male source. Okay, now if they were, here's the thing, is earlier when I said that it must be somebody that knows them, I thought that they were killed separately, taken from their own houses, but if they're walking together, it's a little different. But definitely would have had to have been somebody that knew them if they were taken from their individual homes. So after being able to find a match in state and local databases, the case once again went cold until 2018, when Blass took a new look at the case. Blass used investigative genetic genealogy, a new tool used to help find predators, and led authorities to the suspect of the Golden State Killer. We started doing research on who was living in the area at the time, who was committing crimes. He told KTVU what times of similar crimes are going on in the area. After an extensive follow-up and possible familial line of potential suspect, police were able to identify Hudspeth as the suspect. He was 31 years old in 1982, living in Milpitas at the time of the murders, and lived relatively close to where the teens had last been seen walking, investigators said. Fremont police added that he had a history of violence that included bank robberies, sexual assaults, and attempted homicide. Once Hudspeth was identified and potential suspect in the case, it was discovered he had been dead since October 1999. Wow. That must have been insane research to get to have been sort of, the genealogy sort of narrowed it down, but man, 1999, that's 20 years ago. Police said he had no history after that, right? Police said he died at the age of 48 as a result of a medical condition. To confirm Hudspeth's involvement in the murders, authorities obtained a search warrant and exhumed his remains buried at a cemetery in Santa Clara. To confirm his involvement, police said DNA evidence was extracted from Hudspeth's remains, and through DNA testing, Hudspeth was confirmed as the suspect in the murders. It's believed Hudspeth, hate having to keep saying that name, it's believed he may have been involved in other crimes in and around the time of the murders, police said. He was known to be in Arkansas and San Diego in the months preceding. The families of Jeffrey Flores, Addup, and Mary said they were appreciative. Yep. Yeah. It's just random. I mean, at least they were able to identify the killer. I bet they just aren't going to know how or what was the motive. If they weren't sexually assaulted, they probably were, though, or one of them was. All right, well, that's all I got for you guys tonight. But I did want to come on if you guys were watching 3 Minute of Mystery today, and then you heard that one caller that called in, and then called in twice. I already knew that she was kind of being a troll or something weird about her on the very first call, just because of her attitude. And then, why would you call a show to then just to tell them, I don't want to talk, I don't want to give my name out? She just wanted to seem like she was so important and just so relevant. Well, listen, if you live in Ireland, why do you care if your name's out? Okay? You know, it's like, you know, this guy isn't going to go all the way over there. But not only that, after we had you call us after the show, you had nothing at all to share. Nothing. All you did was try to belittle us because you're claiming you are a forensic anthropologist with all kinds of incredibly useful insight into something that doesn't even have anything to do with that. Okay? So, maybe I wasn't very polite to her, but she was not polite worthy as soon as she went and started attacking us on the show. I saw some of her comments in the chat too. They were like, well, what kind of experience do you guys have? You know, because she's got a whole wealth of great experience, of course. Yeah, sometimes, a lot of times though, you guys can't hear it when they act a certain way, but I'm so used to it now, I just, boom. I just hear it, see it. I already knew. And then when she came back, called a second time, I was like, wow. So now you're calling back again to again tell us. And then she's like, well, I called again because you guys were just, you know. She didn't use the word rambling, but it was something like that. Ada put it in there earlier, but I've already forgot. I'm trying to stop saying already. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure she's got really important information. So important that she couldn't say one thing. And then she started the call by saying, well, what are you guys going to know? You're just 3 white guys. And as soon as she said that, I had lost interest in anything she was saying. And then she ended the call by saying, we're 3 fat white guys. Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty interesting. Yeah. Well, it was bullshit. Complete garbage. And I could see in the chat when she was talking, she was trying to, like, tell everybody how important she was and how what are we doing? Well, what we do is, like I said before, is we have brains, and then we try to use those brains to, interview people, look at the facts in the case, and then what makes the most sense. Okay? What the hell is this? If I make a mug, it's just going to say the phrase. I don't want to do it. Should I make it like that, though? Like WTH is this, or write the whole thing out? And what was the other one that person came up with the other day? It was my other one is more often than never, and then the other person had that one about, oh yeah, something about a mannequin. So just write it out. What the hell is this? Like, I guess I could make 2 different versions, right? I mean, it doesn't cost me anything to actually put a different design on there. Yep, more often than never. Yep, ... more often than never. Yeah, I'm going to make like 2 or 3 of them, though. Yeah. You know what I hated about the Jodi Arias case? More than all of the just sort of the lemming aspect of it? Was the people who create posts with the angel wings and things. I just hate that shit. Whenever there's a case, you always get these people that have nothing to contribute factually or anything. So what they start doing is creating posts where it's just all mushy-gushy. Oh, I love you, Travis. Let me put a picture up with angel wings and a halo around your head, and you're flying in the air, and next to you is Juan Martinez with angel wings too, helping. And it becomes a competition with those types. They want to be the first one to get up in the morning to post it too, so everybody goes, "Yay! Wow, this is awesome!" And then people go, "Did you see mine though? It was." Hey, thanks, Dennis. I actually wouldn't mind if she got an appeal. I think she should. I think what's sad is I actually think she deserves to have a retrial in the case, even though it'll have the same outcome. But the way Juan Martinez was absolutely ludicrous. It was entertaining as hell, but if you go back and see what happened, wow. You know, taking photos with people, dating people, all this kind of stuff. Yeah. I think it'd be interesting to see it again, to be honest with you. But maybe this time they'll go with gunshot first, though. Well, like they did for the first 14 months. So that's what a lot of people don't realize, is that for the first 14 months that Jody was arrested and incarcerated, after all the autopsies, all the findings, everything that they looked at, they believe that the gunshot was first and argued it in court. I actually have the court document where they argued that the gunshot was first, and it was actually an argument in the special cruelty sort of request. Okay? But then, all of a sudden, Jody went from her ninja story to self-defense. And then the prosecution realized that the gunshot first theory supports what Jody would be saying. So then they switched it intentionally to knife first, and had to use a little bit of mental gymnastics by having Detective Flores bite the bullet. He was sort of the fall guy for everybody. And then they said, well, you made a mistake, right? And he goes, well, I wasn't mistaken. I was just inaccurate. Well, doesn't that mean the same thing? So what that was showing me is he had an internal struggle where he knew that he wasn't lying and he wasn't inaccurate, but now he has to say that he's inaccurate, and he doesn't want to, but so he's struggling. And then to make it all work, then you had to get Horn, the medical examiner, up there and make up a new look at the autopsy. Oh, yeah. Everything is a typo now. Overstates things over and over again. So I actually think that they should do a retrial on that one. Just do it by the book. Of course, obviously, death penalty is off the table at that point. My favorite part that really just shows the absolute bullshit that Kevin Horn was doing was when they were talking about the brain and how, you know, he wrote down, well, one of the things he lied about was how decomposed the brain is. Because in the autopsy he said, yeah, no bullet track was noticed. I mean, there was good symmetry. No bullet track was... I couldn't determine a bullet track at all in the brain. But then he said, but the observation of it is somewhat limited due to decomposition. Well, somewhat means mildly, right? So he was able to see that the brain had good symmetry. There was no bullet track in it. The duramater was intact, a thick film that goes around the brain. Oh, that was a typo, though, of course. And then when he's at trial, he says, oh, wow, you can't even... At this point, this is a quote. At this point, the brain was a liquid. You couldn't even examine it. So then you picture somebody holding the brain as it oozes between your fingers like some kind of a goop, right? Some slimy mess that just falls through your fingers. Well, one of Wilmot's only good moments in the case, she said, well, you did serial cross-sections of the brain. So how would it have been liquid? And then he fumbles around with the autopsy, you know, kind of licks his finger, and he goes, oh, okay. So it wasn't liquid, it was softened. Wow. Wow, so if Wilmot at that moment wasn't astute enough, you would have sold to the jury that the brain was freaking just like a glass of water. It was just pure liquid, everybody. Okay, but see, that's what I think is ludicrous, is that he was trying to absolutely minimize his ability to examine the brain. And the reason he did that is now he wants to be able to sell why the autopsy says certain things and how he can back out of it. Man, it was so obvious to me. But the problem is everybody watching it wanted to love Juan Martinez so much and the prosecution so much that they just decided to look the other way on any of that kind of stuff. Yeah. It was unreal. And then he had to come up with this just cockamamie, just stupid closing argument theory where she went up and stabbed him in the back while he was at the sink. You know, he just stayed absolutely still while she stabbed him 13 times in the back. Yeah, he just stood still there. And then at the end, he's looking up at her and she reaches down and cuts his throat. Nope, that doesn't happen. I guarantee it. She was sitting on his back as he tried to crawl away, pulled his head back, cut his throat, but it just previously stabbed him in the back while sitting on his back, and he's really weak about 13 times. And one of them, it actually switches angles, so that means it switched from the right hand to left hand. And I think that might be when she cut her finger and the knife slipped in the blood and slit her own finger. I don't care if you love Juan Lanky Tor, he still did some unethical things at the trial. That's just a fact. If you believe the gunshot was first, then you must believe that he did some unethical things, because they too believed the gunshot was first for 14 months. But is she guilty of first-degree murder? Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, she would lose the next time around too. There isn't anybody that would be suckered in. Yeah, we don't really know. She said she's ambidextrous. Yeah, remember? Or maybe it was 11 left-handed stabs and then one right-handed. I can't remember now. But if you look at the stab wounds on the back, and it was amazing in that trial, we all had access to everything. And you could literally see the angle of the stab wounds, and then there was one that was reversed to that. Oh yeah, you know that case, was it 40A or, hold on a second. I gotta look it up. I don't even know the name of it. I just hear it all the time. Just get all these idiot trolls showing up though. Like look at this comment somebody made. Hello, there are a few people talking about the Darlie Routier case. And they are saying you don't want to... Remember the other night when I said I haven't covered that case because I've seen that everybody else has already covered it? But somehow that made somebody angry. Like, all these people are angry at me because I said that. What for? I mean, what are you mad about? It's just stupid. Look at these people. There are a few people talking about the Darlie Routier case, and they're saying you don't want to do anything regarding her case because there is so much out there already. There is a lot to this case, and there's a lot to this case that people do not know about. Her husband was never investigated, and I found that to be very disturbing. I am wondering why you are not interested in looking into her case. And then I said, wow, who cares that I said that? It's amazing how many people give a damn that I said that. I cover cases that get no exposure at all, and often, and current media. I might take a look at it sometime, but the behavior of all of you trolls is amazing and astonishing. And then I said, am I required to be interested in the case? Yeah, I didn't get a response to that one. Right. That's just right. I mean, the thing is when people get a hold of you and say, oh man, Gray, I'm really interested in this case. Can you cover it? Well, I don't want to cover it now, really, because that means if I don't cover it and say exactly what you've always been thinking, you'll hate the way I did it. So I'd rather just stay away from that one. You know, because I probably won't think just like you did. And I don't have any extra, you know, I don't have like connections with every single police department out there and everything. Yeah. All right, everybody. I think that's going to be it. Where are we going to do the flyby tonight? I actually blocked one of them. The guy was a total idiot. I mean, let me see if I can find that one. Oh yeah, let's see. Here we go. See, this is the first one that I got. See, I got 2 different Facebook message requests. Listen to this one. I just watched a video you did rambling about a new case, and when you were asked about Darlie Routier, you said you didn't do her case because so many people were on that case. Seriously? Her ex-husband and family have been raping and robbing. I mean, really? How do you know, guy? I mean, if they weren't, you know. I don't know. Anyways, I'm just not going to do it. And then, nobody honest wants to talk about her case. All right, well, how about this, idiot? I said, get out of here. I said, what an idiot. You contact someone and you talk like this. Loser. Okay. Although I said, and idiot. So I guess I'm the idiot. Oh. Yeah. So those sound really similar, right? So that means I got 2 people that heard it. Wow. Oh my God. I know, just do it themselves. Seriously. Start a channel, start covering it, and talk about everything that you want to talk about. Oh, Lake, okay. Oh, that's kind of cool. So Molly Go Lightly is saying, I'm saying goodbye, everybody. Bullshit. You've said that 100 times, okay? God damn. You'll be right back. Don't worry about it. Let's see. I just saw that when I'm looking at my feed because I have to get to a different page, and I just saw her make another post saying goodbye, everybody. No way. Okay, so thank you to Shelly Ann. These are all the super chats from today. Thank you, Shelly Ann, earlier on this one. Bush and Beach Lifestyle, Lanky Tor, and then Lillian Plummer as well on this one. Thank you very much. And then on the live earlier, we have Alicia Supertramp, Cairo. Hey, thanks, bud. I think I missed that one. Curious Georgia. That must have been before the show or something. Curious Georgia. Stacy Galloway. Barbara Smith. Robin Frost. Crystal A.K.A. Beaver Gaming Sub Crystal. And Raquel, who was the person wearing the We Are Freaks shirt at CrimeCon. Then Brenda Shaver, Lanky Tor, Dottie O. Caspian Horses Rock, and Barbara Smith. So thank you very much, everybody. Let me just see if there's anything in PayPal. Sometimes there isn't. No. Got some emails, though. A bunch of emails. All right, everybody. Now let's get to the flyby. I like this place. Turn off roads. Got it here. Yeah. Thanks, Lanky Tour. I think I'm just going to do one. I'm tired. One round. But anyways, hey everybody, thank you all for showing up today on two different shows. It was kind of stressful getting the first show started. I had everything set up on Streamlabs OBS, but then realized that Streamlabs OBS doesn't have a virtual camera, so that John and Mike weren't able to see me. So I then had to switch everything over to OBS studio, and it was just I was really stressed out at the beginning of that show. So anyways, everybody, thank you all for showing up tonight. I really appreciate all your support, and thank you to everybody. It's a Patreon member, all the new channel members, and everybody that supports me on Super Chats and everything. It really helps out a lot. All right. So thanks again, everybody. And let me get back on the screen here. Oh, look at that. You guys can see Chloe. There's Chloe laying there. All right, maybe we sit here for a minute and look at some of the people that wear... There's Cairo. Look, everybody. There's Cairo with Blue when he showed up at my house. Uninvited, too. It was weird. He just... I'm kidding. I'm in town, Gray. Let me in, he said. Yep, so there's Chloe just chilling out on her little bed. Right, Chloe? Yep, that's right. Okay, everybody, thank you all for showing up. And as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there.